Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. It is for me Saturday night, August the 2nd, 2014. Happy August to everybody. The weather here has been kind of weird. It's, I have to say, for the summer that we've had, it has not really been that oppressive heat-wise, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, we've been having lots and lots of storms, and that seems to be what's in store for my neck of the woods for the next couple of days. But anyway, I digress. I just felt like explaining the weather situation here. To be honest, I have been procrastinating a little bit with actually recording today. Mostly because it's been a pretty darn slow week as far as gaming news is concerned. I think we're in sort of the summer lull period where everything that was going to get released this summer has already been out, and everything else is sort of on hold until the pre-holiday season or even holiday season at the moment. So there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about, a whole lot going on. So this first of all, this will probably be a little bit shorter episode than normal. It's not going to be the 55 minutes for that, unless I somehow figure some topic out that ends up taking me that long to talk about. And I might diverge a little bit from gaming in this particular episode, just because there's not much else to talk about there. But we will at least talk about what's been going on with me as far as recording and everything else. I've actually been, the last 2 weeks, I'll freely admit this, I've been slacking off when it comes to the recording. I've been taking a little mini break. Now, having said that, I've been putting out videos every single day. A lot of those videos that are going out are ones that I managed to record on my actual vacation, my actual week off vacation. So I had a fairly good amount of, say, Transistor done, and I haven't completed the game yet, but from what I can tell, I seem to be pretty darn close to the end. I have to actually look through, I'm making a mental note for myself here, I have to actually look through what I have left on there, because I might have to scramble this weekend and record some more so that it's ready to go for Tuesday and Thursday. And I am eventually going to put a video out to sort of explain what I'm doing with my schedule. The schedule's pretty much staying the way you would expect it, but I'm sort of taking a little bit of a different approach to certain things. But I'll probably combine that with my sort of monthly channel update thingy that I wasn't originally going to do monthly, but now I figure, you know what? It's kind of nice to do a monthly update actually on the channel. I have to give mad props to Captain Tin for that idea, because initially I just thought, I'll do an update every couple months or something like that. And I think he was the one I saw was doing it every month. And I started doing it, and I'm like, you know what? This actually probably is a good idea to do that every month. Just because it gives you a little something different to watch. And it's usually only like 5 to 10 minutes if I can pry myself away from the microphone to make it 5 to 10 minutes. I always laugh about that how I can just ramble on about stuff, and I have a hard time actually getting my videos down to 5 to 10 minutes anymore. But actually, I'm probably going to employ a lot of that today in this episode, because I went through all of my RSS feeds. I've been monitoring them all week as I normally do, and I've been, I went through them again. I went through any Kickstarter stuff I've done or have been looking at, and looking a little bit at the IndieDB stuff that I look at, and there ain't nothing. There ain't nothing right here. I got literally about 4 or 5 bullet items here, which is the lowest the lowest amount that I've ever had starting up one of these recordings. So I'm kind of nervous that I'm going to run out of stuff here. But anyway, talk a little bit more about what I've been doing on the channel. So as I said, most of the videos that I've had recorded, with the exception of a few, are ones that I had recorded from that week. The exception being Destiny, obviously. Destiny I recorded as much as I possibly could last weekend when the beta was in full swing. So I have about, it's looking like 5 episodes possibly of that. It really depends on how much I cut out of the last episode. You're up to episode 3 now. Episode 4, I kind of go off and do a little stuff. I was trying to look, I spent a little bit of time trying to look for the PvP stuff, and I couldn't find it. But then I also sort of the world sort of opens up a little bit more, just a tad, and I started running a relatively long sort of side questy mission thing majigger. I'm not quite sure what to call it. It's kind of weird. It's stay in the area for as long as you want and pick up as many things as you want to do while you're there until you run out of stuff to do, I guess. And I did that, and so I don't know how much of that I'm going to keep and how much I'm going to cut, because I want to keep it to like 30-ish minutes if I can. So we'll see. It might be 5 episodes, it might be 4 episodes. I'm not quite sure at the moment. We'll see. And then after that, I will get back on track with Watch Dogs. I think, honestly, I have 2 episodes of Watch Dogs recorded, but I think I'm going to toss them out and start over again, because it's been long enough, and I feel like I have a little bit better grasp slightly on what to expect in the beginning there, because that was literally a blind run through. That I think I want to go back and just re-record those first 2 episodes. It's not a whole lot. I mean, it was like an hour of recording or so, or an hour and a half. So not a big deal there. So I'll probably do that shortly. I'll have to figure out when I can do that, because really the top thing on my list right now is to record some of the Ethereum DLC, because it's been in the back of my head for a while here, and it's ready for me. I've got it downloaded onto Sora. I actually fired it up just for a few seconds just to make sure that it was there and everything was okay and copacetic, but didn't actually play any of it. So I do want to get back to that and start recording some more of that, get a good recording session done there. And then I still have to, I ran out of footage a while ago before I went out to California for Space Run, and that's mostly because I was stuck quite thoroughly on that one mission, and nothing else will unlock until I finish that mission. So I have the intention of going back there and finishing that as well, along with all the other things I have to go back and finish. My brain is quite packed full of things right now. It's as far as gaming goes. In fact, it's gotten to the point where I finally threw up my hands and I said, you know what? I got to start writing some stuff down. So you may see a tweet from me in the next week or 2, where I basically possibly show off the huge spreadsheet that I've been working on, the Buff Blast Chest, Bill McLarge Huge. I was just watching Mr. Science Theater 3000 on YouTube. They had the Space Mutiny episode where they just had one guy and they just kept giving him names over and over and over again throughout the whole movie. It was pretty funny. So it's fresh in my brain, some of that. Man, I wish I could just come up with some of the things that they come up with, because there's been times when I'm sitting through a cutscene, I'm like, I wish I could Mystery Science Theater 3000 this cutscene right now and just have just hilarious things to say, but I don't. I am not a comedian, unfortunately. I'm just a guy who tries to be as happy-go-lucky as possible. But it's that being said, I'm getting off on my normal tangent here. I should say, just staying on that tangent for a moment though. I've been doing some side quest videos. I released Rampage Nights the other day, and I have some of Sunless Sea recorded, although I feel like I might throw that recording out and try again. I'm not sure. I might actually... I'm debating whether or not I should just do that as a live stream and then just upload the highlights of the live stream, because it's a very, very slow burning game, and I don't know the backstory of the game, and it seems like it really heavily relies on you knowing some of the backstory or understanding the world in which it takes place. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I might not. I might just release the video that I have. I have to rewatch it and see if it's decent enough. The thing I'm finding, and this is what really bugs me about about me. This is what bugs me, about my own videos. If I can be for a moment critical about my own videos, when I do the side quest things, they are literally the second time usually I'm looking at a game, or even for the most part the first time I'm looking at a game. Usually what I'll do is I'll play the game for like 10 or 20 minutes prior to recording, or it might not be the day that I record, it might be a couple days before I record, just to get a feel for it, and also to test the recording to make sure that all, Fraps is recording it properly and all that stuff, because a lot of indie games sometimes are hit or miss as far as whether Fraps can record them or whether DxTory can record them. And I do that, and I did that with Rampage Nights and everything else, and I thought, I went into the video for Rampage Nights thinking, I know all the bullet points, I've got a few bullet points written down, I've got them in my head, I know what I want to do. I hit that record button, and suddenly I'm just scatterbrained, just completely scatterbrained. And this is a problem that I was worried about when I first started recording. It's why pretty much all the videos that are early on in my channel are post commentary videos, because I was very worried that I would be extremely scatterbrained and not be able to hold a thought, right? And so and for the most part it's true, right? When I try to do these side quest videos, I just I have in my head everything I want to hit, all the bullet points I want to hit, all the things I want to talk about, and then I start playing, and I'm dividing my attention between playing and saying stuff, and I just go, I sound like a damn feeble old man, ranting about the war or something. I can't hold a coherent thought sometimes. And watching back the Rampage Nights thing, I released it because it was good enough, I felt, but I'm not very happy with how it turned out. I'm really not. It's like when I listen to my commentary on there, I'm just like, I was too scary. Like I went into it and I was very happy and very, I'm energetic and believe it or not, I mean that's how I sound when I'm energetic. I was very energetic, very happy going into it. So I wasn't like distracted or anything. It's just as soon as I started recording, man, my brain just went bloop. I'm going to sleep now. Have fun with this body. So I don't know if I need to go back to doing things as a post commentary. To be honest, I don't know if that's actually going to make it better. if I'm going to be completely honest about that, because I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reviewer, although I kind of am reviewing and kind of am doing a little journalism slightly. I'm just a guy playing a game, and I'm trying to convey information about the game as best as I can. I mean, I haven't done exhaustive research into anything. I haven't talked to devs. I haven't done any of that stuff. It's usually I'm just I see a trailer video and I go, that looks kind of cool, and I read the text of it and I'm like, that looks kind of cool, and I read the bullet points and I'm like, that looks kind of cool, and then I just sit down and record it, or I play it and make sure that it's in a state that I can record in, because quite a lot of games that I look at, because I'm looking at games that are very, very early in the pipeline usually, and quite a lot of them I'll look at them and go, this is way too early for me to do any kind of video on it, because it's just not going to be even remotely entertaining to watch. Or two, I'll look at it and I'll go, I have no clue what the hell is going on here. I had that experience with one game that I just downloaded that's it's been developing for about a year, and the name escapes me at the moment, but it basically involved it was a 3D game that involved a flying turtle, and it was very, very strange. I couldn't figure out what the point was. It was less than even a tech demo, honestly. So I, immediately said, well, I can't record this. So I do that, just to kind of weed out exactly where things are at as well. But it's, I feel that way with the Sunless Sea recording that I did too, where I need to really listen to the commentary and see if it's worth putting up in the current state, because I just, and I had this problem with Radical Heroes as well. I have a recording of Radical Heroes around here, but when I listened back to it, I'm like, I was so scatterbrained. I couldn't convey any thoughts, and then there was a lot of downtime in the game, and there's a lot of downtime in Sunless Sea as well, which lends itself better to live streaming than to YouTube, really, because you don't want to have all that downtime when nothing's really happening. Although you want to keep some of it in there, because people looking at the video want to know what it's like to play the game, so whether or not they should put money down for the early access, or if they should keep it on their radar or something, if it's the type of game they want. And part of that is saying, hey, look, this is a slow burning game. I'm going to sit here sailing around the sea for 20 minutes waiting for something to happen. I mean, what am I going to do? What you going to do? So I'm trying to balance those two things, and honestly, I'll be 100% truthful here and say that I've been trying to find a way to utilize Twitch more, utilize live streaming more, and I feel like I could do some of these very early first looks where I'm trying to learn a game, trying to figure out what it does. I could probably utilize that in the live stream format, and then after doing that, record an actual side quest video for it. I mean, I guess I could technically take highlights from the stream and use that as a side quest video, but I want to get sort of the microphone quality and all that stuff correct on that before I would do something like that. And also, it's kind of jarring when you're on a YouTube video and if I had viewers on Twitch and I was responding to them and you can't see their comments on the screen, then and I'm starting to respond to people, it's kind of weird that way too. So we'll see. I would like to start utilizing the live streaming more than I do, because right now I'm just doing the Friday stream, and it's always Livecraft Mine, because I always need to get some stuff done on there, some off-camera stuff done on there, because I don't have. This is the problem I keep saying about sandbox games. I don't have the kind of time necessary to grind out in these games, and it's almost required that unless you're playing with somebody else and you can sort of play off of each other, it's almost required if you're doing a solo LP on a sandbox game that you do a whole bunch of stuff off camera, a whole bunch of prep work off camera. So it helps when I can do that in a live stream, because then I can sort of play it off and say, well, this is user interaction, this is fan interaction stuff, which it is, and then it also it allows for some random things to happen too along the way. But when you're trying to, you can't really necessarily put that stuff on YouTube anymore, because nobody wants to watch a 2-hour episode of me just grinding for resources. You know what I mean? Unless I have something interesting to talk about, which is harder to come upon than you might expect for someone like me who can ramble on about paint colors without abandon. So I'll have to see whether or not that video is going to go up. There's other things that I want to do side quest videos on as well. I'm always constantly looking at things. Oh, what brought this up? Oh yeah, the spreadsheet that I'm creating is sort of what brought this up. Is that I have reached the capacity of my brain to store a lot of these games and stuff in there, and I'm starting to forget things that I wanted to revisit. I'm not forgetting the series that I've started that I want to revisit. I just need to get it back in my brain. I need to get back into the saddle for those games. It's just that it's, I also want to put them on that list so I remember too, but it's more of, hey, whatever happened to this game or that game? And then I realize that I haven't looked at the game for ages, and then I look out on YouTube and there's already somebody who's on episode 52 of their Let's Play of it, and I'm like, damn, I missed the boat on this thing entirely. So I'm coming up with a Google spreadsheet where I'm basically putting all of the games that I'm tracking in there, and it's a hefty list. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me quite a long time to write it up, because it's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of information in there that I want to put in there, like where the website is and whether or not they like YouTubers and all that kind of thing. And plus, I've so far only put the indie stuff in there. I still have to put the AAA stuff in there, because it's the AAA stuff that I keep forgetting. Like the crew beta happened. I wasn't part of the beta, so I couldn't do anything with it because it was a closed beta. But the crew might get released, fairly soon, or some kind of beta might be happening with it, and I haven't gotten on board yet with it, and I miss it, which I don't want to miss. Or something like Battlefield. What was it? Battlefield Hardline? Yeah. Like, I wanted to get in on that in the beta, and I don't know if I think it's still going on, but I haven't looked at it since the E3 conference, and I just don't. It's in the back of my head somewhere, but I can't access it all the time until I'm actually start to think about things. So I need to I'm trying to put all that stuff in Google Docs. I'm also trying to put all my bullet points for news articles, that I do here or in Cube World, into a spreadsheet as well. Although I probably won't make that spreadsheet public, just because sometimes I write stuff down in there thinking, hey, this might be a good topic to talk about. And then as I sit here and start talking, I'm like, second thoughts. Second thoughts. And I end up skipping it because I want to talk about something else instead, or I'm continuing a conversation about something else. So I may not make that one public, because there might be things in there that I threw in there just in case I had time, but then I just said, screw it, I don't really want to talk about it now. maybe I put it in early in the week, and then later in the week some new information comes down that I'm not aware of, and then I read up on it again. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not going to touch this now. I was going to touch it earlier in the week, but nah, not so much. Not with the new information that came down. So but the list of games I'm coming up with, I'm trying to collate that and get it out there, and then hopefully if I can do that in the next couple of weeks, I know I mentioned this a long time ago that I wanted to do this, and it's now become a necessity, an absolute necessity. Like, I cannot hold another game title in my brain right now. Now it's become an absolute necessity. I'm actually doing the legwork on it. So, and I figure if I'm going to do the legwork on it, I might as well let others benefit from it too. Why not? So I might end up making the spreadsheet public, although I'm going to try to make it read only, because the last thing I need are, people changing the text around to something that's not accurate or throwing other things in there. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I haven't gotten back to any of the other series I want to do yet. I haven't really started any new series per se. I'm doing lots of research. I've been basically just kind of hanging on to what I got. I've been taking a couple days sort of off from recording, although there's things that I can't take a day off from, like Livecraft Mine, for instance. I can't really. I've tried to record episodes ahead of time, and it just simply does not work out for me to try to record them ahead of time. It just doesn't. It's just not feasible, just because of the amount of work that I have to go into off camera for that stuff. The Soul Zero, I choose not to record ahead of time, because the game keeps getting updated regularly, and some of the updates have some really cool stuff and features in them. So I'm trying not to, get too far ahead on that. Plus, I don't want to rush that, because I want that. I'm hoping that I will still have the series going on even when the game goes final and gets into a final release, because that would be rather cool, I think. So I am purposely sort of dragging it out a bit. I'm trying to play every little piece of it that I can play, because I want it still going on when the when the release happens. Because my fear is that I'm going to do what a lot of YouTubers do. I'm going to run through it really fast and then be tired of all, not having any features, and then forget about it, and then come back to it when it's released and go, oh yeah, I remember this game. Much like Starbound. That was one of the things I used to complain about when I was recording Starbound, is that a lot of the other YouTubers like Zisto and everything else, they just blew through Starbound like very quickly. Within, a few weeks or so, they just blew through it. And that always has boggled my mind. Like, it's an alpha game. Well, in case of Starbound, a beta game, right? It's in beta. It's in alpha. They're calling it beta, but it's alpha, really. It's in alpha. It's not. There's still more stuff to do. There's a hell of a lot more to do. Why you rush through things? Why you must rush through things? I don't know. That drives me a little bit insane. It's in a funny way. It's not a insane, angry way. It's just, I laugh when I see it, because it's just you're basically you're killing the game for yourself, because game development is hard. Programming is hard. It takes time, lots and lots of time. And the slower you go, the slower you burn on an alpha, the happier you'll be, because you're basically giving the developers time to catch up to you. You know what I mean? And to release new and cool stuff. And you're not burning yourself out on the game before it's even a quarter of the way done. Hence why I'm still in Cube World here, and as a level 116 Ranger, right? And it's like episode 54, for crying out loud. And if there are other YouTubers out there right now who are on their second series or second season of Cube World, because they ran through it really fast at the beginning, and then they stopped for several months on end, and then ran through it again. And to be honest, I stopped as well in the middle there for a few weeks before I picked it back up again, because I wasn't happy with the quality of the LP potential of it because it felt like I was being very repetitive, and that's when I turned it over into a podcast. So at least there's some kind of sane, semi-sane content commentary going on. But that's the way I'm approaching Soul Zero on purpose. And obviously Cube World I can't do ahead of time either because it requires me to actually have topics to talk about. Or in the case of this week, have an entire week where there's very little news of anything that's worth talking about. But that is my thoughts on things. Speaking of my thoughts on things, I might as well get to the bullet points that I actually have on the page here. So the first one I have on the list here, No Man's Sky. I have been anticipating this game for a long time. It's Minecraft meets Space Engineers, sort of, meets Star Maid, sort of, meets a Wing Commander variant, basically. It looks really cool. It's not really focused on the building aspects. It's focused, from what I can tell, on the exploration aspects. Explore a planet, go out into space, explore space. You can destroy stuff and kill stuff along the way. That's cool. That's part of the game, but it's mostly the exploration thing. But I was, and I've talked about this in length before, but I was bummed out a couple months ago actually, because they said it's going to be PS4 exclusive. And I'm like, oh crap, man. I really want to play this game and I don't want a PS4. I just want to play this game. And I was really bummed out. But I remember hearing that it was PC at some point, that it was going to be on the PC, but then all the articles kept saying, oh, PS4 exclusive. And I'm like, oh man, they must have changed their mind at some point. No, it turns out, in an article today, no, they actually do have a PC version, and they do intend on releasing on a PC. What they were saying all that time was that, as far as consoles are concerned, it's going to be a PS4 exclusive. So that was the most confusing PR talk it could ever hear, right? It's like, we are PS4 exclusive, or we are console exclusive to the PS4. And it's like, but then they're saying, oh, but we also have a PC version. It's like, but then you're not console specific. But what they went to say was, we're only coming out on the PS4. We're not coming out on Nintendo. We're not coming out on any Xboxes and any of that stuff. But also we're coming out on PC. Which, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy because I want to play this game, and I do not feel it's worth buying a PS4 to play it. I want to play it on a PC. I want a proper PC thing. So thankfully that sounds like that is in the works, that we were just hearing things wrong, which is cool by me. I'm glad about that. I'm very pumped up about that. So then I have a little side bullet point here about YouTubers, in particular Minecraft YouTubers. So there was a thread on Reddit about how much some popular Minecraft YouTubers are charging to play on minigame servers. And I will freely admit, I was one of those people that was initially shocked at hearing that. I shouldn't have been. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that people who do YouTube as a business would see their time as needing to be compensated, and that they would do something like this. I mean, Christ, we're still in the Yahoo Discovery Gate area of stuff, and from a business perspective, all that sounds like something a business would do. But I was still initially shocked by it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe people are charging for this. And I guess it's because I would, I look at that and I go, I don't think I would ever accept money in that case. It might be one of those things where I would say, I'll go look at your server and maybe I'll do a video, but I don't really want to take money for it. But then again, the server owners probably would insist upon paying somebody for that because they want positive PR on it. You know what I mean? And nothing says positive PR more than paying someone for their time. Even if they do wrangle on it and say that it's a terrible server, they're going to feel bad about doing it. Sort of. I say that with a tongue firmly in cheek there, because basically you're paying them as a PR person, and there's no better PR than YouTube and Twitch anymore, especially from a cost perspective. But I know personally, if I were ever paid for something like that even though I would still rate the server on its merits and on its failings, I would probably find myself in a situation where I'm sort of making all the failings into, showing all the failings through rose-colored glasses, I guess, is the best way I could say it. It's like sort of putting a spin on the failings and saying, well, this is kind of bad, but it's not the worst it could be, that kind of thing. Just because someone paid you and you feel kind of guilty a little bit. I do have that guilty conscience type of person, so I could see that. I understand why people look at that stuff and they sort of freak out a little bit. But that said, the thing that I guess weirded me out the most is the amount of money people are charging. Holy crap! Like, there was one person on there, I think, that was like $7,000 or something like that. It was the minimum that they charge. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is funny money at this point. So I guess I was also taken aback by that. But I don't think that I don't necessarily have a problem with the practice. The only thing that weirds me out about it is that a lot of those YouTubers do not do enough to be transparent about it, right? Like when I follow a YouTuber, after you follow a YouTuber for a while, you kind of get an idea for their personality, at least their personality from an online perspective, right? You don't know them personally, you don't know them what they're like in real life, but you can kind of get an idea for the way their brains sort of work, right? So when a YouTuber suddenly out of the blue is on some Minecraft server playing mini games, it's like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. This is great. This is awesome. There's that voice in the back of your head that should be going, I wonder if he's getting paid to say that right now. And I'm sort of, I don't want to point anything out, but let's just say there are YouTubers that I follow, Minecrackers that I follow, that out of the blue suddenly were doing a lot of minigame server stuff, and the thought had crossed my mind, like, yeah, I guess they're getting paid to do something here. The problem is that they're not. The only time I have a problem with it is if it's not explained or transparent to the viewer, right? A lot of YouTubers either won't say anything at all because they're kind of embarrassed by it. I don't know why you'd be embarrassed by it, but they kind of are. Or they won't say anything at all because they're afraid of backlash, which, I mean, if you're big enough that people are coming to you to do their PR, then you're already living in an echo chamber, so just buck up and take it, right? I mean, you're already taking it. But there are others that are like, oh, I just put it in the description. It's just there. Everybody could see it in the description. It's not the first line in the description. It's maybe the 20th line in the description underneath all kinds of other bullshit about subscribing, liking, and favoriting. But yeah, it's there. It's kind of, small text. it's in Latin. Just so there'd be no misunderstandings. So to me, that's not sufficient. You literally, in the video somewhere, you need to say, in plain spoken and in normal tone of voice, right? None of this, we had a baby, it's boy stuff, right? You literally have to say in the video in a normal tone of voice, by the way, I have been paid to play on this server. I have been paid to make this video about playing on this server. Period. End of story. You don't have to go into details. You don't have to do anything else. It's just common courtesy to be explicit about that stuff and just say, look, this is what happened. Because it could, it affects the content of your video. This, like it or not, whether it actually affected your opinion or not is irrelevant. It's affecting the viewers of your video, the content of your video. So, I mean, it means that, in the back of your head, there's something that says, okay, I got to make sure I got to take all this with a grain of salt, right? Which you should do anyway, but still, on top of that. Anyway, I've ran it on long enough. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you next Sunday.